Open the silo doors! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Oh my god, we're doomed!
So, Half-Life. It's a game that's got a lot of mods over the years. Sven Co-op, Afraid of Monsters, Brutal Half-Life, you know, all that good stuff. From small map packs to full conversions, there are probably tens of thousands of mods out there for the original Half-Life, and that number is still growing despite the game being almost 30 years old. So naturally, I took a deep dive down the modding rabbit hole to try and find some strange and downright obscure mods for Half-Life. From Monkey Deathmatch to exploring Black Mesa as a cat. Here are some of Half-Life's weirdest mods you probably didn't know about. Just like Half-Life, Stalker is also a series that has had a pretty active community, with a wide selection of all sorts of mods and mod packs that take this old, slightly janky Ukrainian FPS and turn it into a totally different game. I'm not here to talk about Stalker mods today though, but I am here to talk about how you can play Stalker as a Half-Life mod. Well, kinda. So for the first weird mod, we've got Stalker Half-Life, a mod from 2010 that takes the Stalker universe and mashes it with Half-Life Deathmatch. Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble here, but getting the whole traditional Stalker experience crammed into GoldSrc isn't exactly happening. So SHL is a multiplayer-only deathmatch mod. You choose between the Monolith or Clear Sky faction for your team, and pick from a selection of different classes, which all have the usual Soviet-era weapons from the series. Stuff like the PKM, SVD, Val, you know the deal. Oh yeah, and the AKs, you can't forget the AKs. The mod also comes bundled with its own custom maps, which give a nice selection of depressingly nostalgic areas to explore from the exclusion zone, just closed off into smaller deathmatch levels. Unsurprisingly, there aren't exactly a lot of servers for this mod that hasn't been touched since 2010. Lucky for me though, this one's got bot support that actually works well. Kinda-ish. You know, it feels a little bit like I joined one of those CS 1.6 servers from Eastern Europe with like 1,000 mods and viruses loaded on it. Ah, the good old days. So it's what you'd expect. Spawn in with your class and gun down anything in sight. Yeah, it's simple, but it's a deathmatch mod. What'd you expect? Probably my favorite addition is that they added the voice lines from the game, which kind of make the death scenes a bit hilarious. The bots are a little weird though. They often spawn in the same place over and over and either ignore you or completely aimbot you. And no, it doesn't matter what team you're on either. They just gun down anything. And you better hope they don't spawn with a shotgun either. That thing is complete bullshit. Between the bots running around with grenade launchers and every enemy exploding into a bloody pulp, it's complete goddamn chaos. But I can't lie, it is a lot of fun. The mod only received a few updates, the last of which being over 15 years ago now, but it still works on modern Steam Half-Life no problem. If you're into Stalker, it's pretty fun to play a couple rounds with a group of friends. I will say though, using the PKM is absolutely abysmal. Alright, let's get on to the next mod before I have an aneurysm. Okay, hear me out for a sec. Picture this. Half-Life, but you're a cat. So this is Cat Life, where you play as a cat named Newton trying to escape Black Mesa. You know, after Dr. Freeman makes an oopsie by putting Little Crystal into Big Laser. So poor Newton is now trapped deep in the lower levels of the facility and needs to find his way out. Alright, a bit of a weird-ass idea, but I'm curious. Now the concept for this mod was surprisingly fleshed out for how strange it was. It was supposed to have 6 chapters with around 30 maps, a new cat training course, and feline-accurate equipment, like biting, claws, and improved night vision. They even had concept art made up for the mod too, and apparently it was quite highly anticipated back in the day. But we only got a demo from back in 2009 to play, so let's just give it a go. The demo starts out similar to Half-Life's usual intro, except you're riding on Black Mesa's transit system in a cat carrier, as you arrive in a random science lab after the resonance cascade occurs. Man, it feels weird as hell playing Half-Life at this angle. So this demo only contains around 5 levels, which all told takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get through, and is basically a series of rooms and corridors with little platforming elements. There's really not much more to it other than a few headcrabs to scratch up here and there, but I guess it is just a demo. There's no real instruction for where to go, so you just meander your way around the facility, avoiding some barnacles and hopping around. Aside from the main levels, you do also get a new training course, which is one of those big cat jungle gym things. Kinda fun to hop around for a bit, actually. The weird part about this mod is just how long it took to actually come together. It was released on ModDB in 2009 as a demo, but had been an idea ever since 2003. A group called BWL Development were behind the mod, and as far as I can tell, are still doing all sorts of stuff today on their website. I can't say I didn't have a bit of fun playing Half-Life from a cat's perspective, and as weird as the concept for the mod is, it seems like the team behind it really were trying to put together a unique experience, and not just a parody of Half-Life for furries. As far as I could tell, Cat Life is still kind of being developed. I mean, there have been a handful of posts over the years about needing more team members to finish it. The last one I could find was for a casting call for voice actors from 2020, so maybe there's hope for a continuation of good old Cat Life. For what it's worth, it's a cool little project from a different time in the modding scene. But if you thought playing Half-Life as a cat was weird, well, just wait till you see the next mod. So you've probably all heard of a little game called Counter-Strike, right? You know, Valve's small indie FPS that went from humble mod to youth gambling simulator? Yeah, that one. Okay, well, hear me out again. Counter-Strike with Monkey. Enter Monkey Strike from way back in 2004. Another multiplayer-focused deathmatch mod where you play as a selection of primates warring with each other in the usual jungle-like environments. So yeah, at its core, it's basically just Half-Life Deathmatch, but, wait for it, with 100% more banana. It describes itself as a mod focused on fun rather than realism. I never would have guessed it, to be honest. Well, let's see if Monkey Strike can live up to its name and inspire some neuron activation. Now this is a deathmatch mod, which means it's multiplayer only, which means I have to find some people to play with. Yeah. Well, let's just say when it comes to small monkey-themed DM mod from 2004, expecting there to be servers is a bit of a goddamn pipe dream. Oh, and there's no bot support. God damn it. So unfortunately, I can't give a good demo of actual gameplay, but I can at least show off some of the mod's features. I know you're probably thinking, why the hell would you include it if you can't really experience it? Well, it's a good point, but it's goddamn Monkey Strike. How the hell could I not include this thing? Much like Cat Life, it's another mod that you would expect to be a little bootleg or cobbled together just because of how silly the concept is. But it's actually impressive to see not only how much content is in it, but how much polish it all has too. The mod is actually class-based, which seemed a bit odd to me at first. I mean, normal Counter-Strike doesn't have a class system like this. And then again, I guess Monkey Strike probably sounded better than like Ape Fortress, Team Baboon, whatever. You can play on either Team Strawberry or Team Melon, and each class comes with its own unique design, weapons, and equipment, like a blowpipe, grapefruit shotgun, or pineapple launcher. Hell, you even get a skunk that you can smoke out other people with. It also comes packed with its own selection of arena-style custom maps that all have this cartoony jungle theme. To me, it's got that nostalgic feeling of an old N64 or PS1 game. Bright colors, cartoonish designs, and just goofy themes overall. It's like Donkey Kong 64 Deathmatch Edition. What makes this mod special to me is that it feels like something a couple of friends got together to make just purely for fun, not focused on being something mind-blowing or groundbreaking, just a project for some buddies to play together and have a few laughs. Hopping around some of these maps kind of felt like I was playing Banjo-Kazooie or Ape Escape. It was a nice hit of nostalgia. While Monkey Strike didn't exactly become the biggest Half-Life mod out there, it was rated one of ModDB's best comical/fun mods of 2003. The small team started working on it back in 2001 and released a few versions of the mod over the years until its last official release in 2004. And nothing new since then. And the author hasn't been online since 2006, so yeah. Maybe they'll make a surprise return this year for its 20th anniversary. I mean, you never know. Yeah, okay, probably not. Next mod. So does anybody remember playing the board game Candyland? I don't know, like, do kids even play board games anymore? Jesus, I sound like a boomer. Anyways, this is a Big Lolly, a single-player mod created by Cale George way back in 2003. It's pretty short, just a small collection of levels that only take around 15 to 20 minutes to get through overall, but the weird theme alone was intriguing to me. So, welcome to the dreamland of wonder and candy, Big Lolly. Man, that title just feels weird to say. You warp between each candy-themed level with these little picture frame portal things and traverse through beating up gummy bears and gingerbread man with a giant lollipop. So here's the thing, I don't know if we should consider this a wholesome, kid-friendly experience or a really wild mushroom trip. Or maybe both? Nah, okay, that doesn't really work. I don't know, shroom trip or not, the bottom line here is that you can consider me charmed by this one. It's hardly groundbreaking in terms of gameplay, or difficult for that matter. Most of the time I just died from falling off the edge, but I could care less. This mod is just damn charming. Makes me feel like I'm playing an old, cozy platformer. Like warping from level to level with the picture frames reminded me of Spyro. I don't know, it just gives me the warm fuzzies. So a small mod overall, but just the theme and whimsical sort of design for the levels is what made me love it so much. You're either jumping between candy-coated platforms or climbing a snowy mountain. A fun fact I thought was worth mentioning here is that the mod was originally made by someone named Kale George. Now if I'm correct here, when I looked into this a bit, I found out he's worked as a level designer for a number of big studios and now currently works at Valve. I can't confirm it, but most of what I found online suggested that. I mean, it's not like this guy's gonna put Big Lolly on his resume. You even get this nice little cutscene at the end too. Yeah, I take that back. This is definitely a mushroom trip. Alright, let's finish up with a little bit of a wholesome mod, another strange crossover called Mario Keys, a single-player puzzle platformer mod with a bit of a wholesome story behind its creation. This one has pretty much no combat in it, instead a collection of around 20 puzzle-focused levels, of course with the Mario theme and all. The main goal is finding color-coded keys to unlock the corresponding doors. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but to be fair, isn't that kind of what Doom was too? I guess just with a lot more like, blood and gore and stuff, whatever. There's not really a plot or story other than the usual rescuing the princess deal. That is, unless you want to imagine Gordon getting teleported to the Mushroom Kingdom instead of Zen or something. But the backstory is the wholesome part here. Doc Rock, the creator of the mod, said it was mainly developed as a simple puzzle game with younger players in mind, so it doesn't have much of a focus on combat at all. He made it when his son was 12 years old, and I presume for him to be able to experience GoldSrc with a theme that was a bit more approachable to him. I mean, come on, if that's not wholesome, I don't know what is. Anyways, as you'd expect, the mod is pretty straightforward and doesn't take all that long to get through. But hey, nothing wrong with that. It's mostly just weird seeing the Mario universe mixed into GoldSrc, but it does give me a nice feeling of nostalgia for those old custom Super Mario maps for Counter-Strike Source and Gmod, and considering how the author originally made it for younger players, I'd say they did a good job at that. So there you have it, some mods with weird concepts cooked up by the Half-Life community over the years. Yeah, sure, they may be old and a bit unpolished in some areas, but all these are still more than worth checking out. They give a bit of an insight into the older days of modding, where there were just so many projects out there with these odd ideas. Overall, it's just fun and a bit nostalgic to explore these. But yeah, like I said, this is one deep rabbit hole, and there's tons of other strange mods out there to cover, so let me know if I should do a part 2 of this one. Anyways, thanks for watching, and stay tuned.